I only ended my conversation there with Michelle because I do want to talk about this. Fantasy author Terry Pratchett has died at the age of 66 after a long battle with Alzheimer's. Terry, best known for the Discworld series. He was probably our best-selling author in the 90s, wasn't he? He wrote more than 70 books over his lengthy career. He was first diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2007, but continued writing, completing his final book last summer. He also became really passionate about it, and certainly he was one of the most high-profile people that I know talking about this debilitating illness. He died at home surrounded by his family. Jason Anthony is the editor of the Terry Pratchett fan newsletter Discworld Monthly. Jason, thank you so much for talking to us tonight.
No, it's a pleasure to be here.
How much of a shock was it that it happened now? Had his health been deteriorating? Had you heard anything?
Yeah, he's obviously been ill since he had his PCA diagnosis in 2007. But the last couple of years have been pretty tough on him. By the time we went to the convention in Manchester last year, he'd lost about 90% of his eyesight through the PCA. His eyes were working, but his brain wasn't able to interpret the images anymore. So he spent the last few months of his life pretty much in darkness, which must have been pretty horrible for him. So yeah, we know he's been ill for some time, but it's still a terrible shock to actually hear the news today.
What was it about his writing that captured so many people's imagination?
Well, I think through comedy he made us all think. He looked at something and worked out how something worked in a different way, and then he got you to question things that you take for granted, things that were always, we've always done it that way. He would ask, why? Why is it done that way? Why don't we do it differently? And why don't we look at things differently? So he made jokes and everyone laughed, but he also made us think, which I think is really important.
When did you become a fan?
I became a fan back in the early 90s, so he'd already written sort of 10 books by that point, or maybe even more, 15 books by that point. So I came into it quite late, but I've been a fan ever since. No,
just tell me, normally when people who write or people who sing pass away, there's a run on their material. What is it that you are imagining now there will be a serious run on?
Which of his books? Or,
yes.
Oh, I don't know. We've done things in the past. What's your favourite Terry book? And he's with 41 to choose, or 41 in the Discworld series to choose from. Everyone likes a different one for different reasons. Some people like books about Australia. There's one that's ostensibly about Australia, which a load of people like. There's one. There's ones about witches. There's ones about police. There's all sorts of different ones, and so everyone would have their own view on what is his best one. But I would imagine possibly Mort. The one that really introduced death as a full-on character. I guess that would probably be a lot of people's favourite, and I guess poignant at this time.
Thank you so much for your time. It's much appreciated. Deepest commiserations, of course. Jason Anthony, the editor of the Terry Pratchett fan newsletter Discworld Monthly.